Hello and welcome to Berita. Today we will be talking about Suharto, the father of development, and the second president of Indonesia. Suharto was born on June 8, 1921, in a plated bamboo hut. Suharto was the son of Kertosiduro, an official responsible for water distribution in the Dutch East Indies colony, and of Sukira, related to Sultan Hamengkubuwana V through his first concubine. Only graduated high school. Suharto then worked as a bank clerk for several years, but resigned after his only working clothes tore in a bicycle accident. He joined the Royal Netherlands East Indies Army, but when the Japanese occupied the region, he switched and trained under a home defense corps sponsored by the Japanese. During that time, he learned about Bushido. After Japan exited the region, Suharto became a part of the guerrilla forces that fought back against the Netherlands forces that wanted to return to Indonesia and to reestablish their colony in the region. Suharto's rise to prominence is a linear one. In 1950, Suharto became a battalion commander and lieutenant colonel. 2 years later, in 1957, he became a colonel. 3 years later, in 1960, he became a brigadier general, and 2 years later, he became a major general. A year later, in 1963, he was the head of the Army's Strategic Command, and only 4 years later, Suharto was appointed to the position of president by then-President Sukarno. During Suharto's administration, there were many advancements, and there were many changes from the Sukarno administration. Suharto appointed a group of U.S.-educated economists called the Berkeley Mafia to help recover the ailing economy due to the lack of economic programs by Sukarno. Suharto also established his New Order regime, and he instituted Dui Fungsi, in which the military apparatus has a central role in government and thus government positions. Suharto quadrupled the price of oil to help the economy, and he instituted Repelita, which are 5-year plans to stabilize the Indonesian economy for the long term. In Repelita 1, which spanned his first period as president, emphasized production in staple foods and in infrastructure development. Repelita 2, which focuses on agricultural employment and regional development. Repelita 3, focused on agriculture and industry development. Repelita 4, which focused on basic industries development. And Repelita 5, which focused on transport and communication development. Each Repelita spanned one period of his presidency, because in Indonesia, a president has a 5-year duration between the choosing of the presidency. In his administration, he also established the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, invaded Timor-Leste, increased nutrition and public health of nation, and because of the Repelita, he is able to see Indonesia becoming the self-sufficient rice developer. Therefore, he oversaw Indonesia, which was a large importer of rice at the time, into becoming self-sufficient in rice. He increased the population with his Keluarga Berencana program, and he instituted anti-Chinese cultural laws in public and brought Indonesia back to the UN as a member. His presidency, however, ended because of the 1997 Asian financial crisis. In 1997, hyperinflation soared, the value of the Indonesian currency, rupiah, fell. There were a decrease in living standards, there were anti-government protests, and there were economic recessions. In 1998, killings of 4 student demonstrators, looting were rampant, and Suharto finally resigned from his position. When this happened, university students occupied parliament buildings and ethnic Chinese were targeted during the protests. In retirement, he was hounded for corruption allegations, and Suharto also sued Times Asia for libel. He was listed as one of the most corrupt by Transparency International and was placed under house arrest. Although a judge acquitted him, his foundation, Yayasan Supersemar, had to pay approximately $110 million. He died on January 27, 2008. Then President SBY announced Suharto's death and called him one of Indonesia's best sons. Suharto's body was laid to rest in Giri Bangun. This was an overview of Indonesia's second president, Suharto. Thank you.